What are they thinking? Why would they do something like that? Wouldn't it be nice to know what's on the inside of someone's head and just understand why they do the things that drive you crazy? You are in luck. Welcome to my series on how to get along with people based on each Enneagram type, my favorite personality test that is so incredibly spot on, it's going to blow your mind. Today, my beloved friend Angela joins me to share what goes on in the mind of an Enneagram 1. Angela is a wife, a mother of 2 girls, a nurse practitioner, and owner of a med spa. She is super passionate about CrossFit and female empowerment. Ready to dive into the mind of a reformer? Check it out. Angela, welcome to Create Your Fates, and thank you so much for being on my show as my Enneagram 1.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, of course. I could not think of a better Enneagram 1 than you. You are the epitome of an Enneagram 1, and thank you for being willing to share what it's like being inside the mind of an Enneagram 1 so others can get along with ones. So first off, first question is, how has known everything about an Enneagram 1 and knowing your Enneagram type, how has that changed your relationship with yourself and with others?
I think that being more aware of my type has definitely opened my eyes to kind of what I thought was just for me. I thought that that was just me. That's my personality. That's how it was. Um, and I never really understood how to flow with other people. It was kind of always my way or the highway. And so now I'm really learning that there are other ways, and it's just made me more aware. And it's definitely helped, I think, with my relationship with especially my oldest daughter, who I'm pretty sure is a 1 as well. And so definitely kind of opened my eyes and allowed me to be more understanding of her, and that's helped our relationship too.
Wow, that's awesome. Yes, you're married, you are a business owner, you have 2 daughters, so you interact with people very frequently throughout your day. And so I love that you said it's my way or the highway because it's so Enneagram 1. Tell me, why is it your way or the highway?
Because I feel like I know what is best. I feel like I'm always right. That it just works better my way.
Yes. And that's interesting because the motivators of a 1 is I have a desire to do things the right way. That is literally my desire. It's got to be done the right way. And so
Yes.
the reformer or perfectionist is a more common title for an Enneagram 1. So if someone is getting along with you and you say, hey, my way or the highway, they're going to take personal offense to that and say, oh, well, my way must be like garbage then. So what would you say, when it comes to other people and catering to their needs as well and their ways, how do you get over, well, it's got to be my way because my way is the right way? What's that process like for you?
I think that it's more of, let me tell you my way and how I am seeing it. But now I'm more aware of and open to listening to other people's suggestions as well. And then, maybe we can come to some sort of compromise to where we're both happy. It's a lot of internal struggle for me to really accept that maybe we're not going to do it my way, but your way may be just as good, maybe. But I'm at least open to hearing it.
Right, right. Why is it so hard to be open to hearing other ways of doing things, especially if it's not as good as your way of doing things?
It's just this thought of I am right. This is the best way. This is the right way, the most efficient way. This is, in my head, this all lines up and makes sense, and we're checking all the boxes along the way so that we don't miss anything. Um, and, working with other types, it's like maybe they've skipped step 2 through 8, and, now I'm like, wait. We missed some steps, but we still got to the same ending. So it's it's a battle. It's a struggle.
Yeah. So tell me about this checklist. Is this something that, before Enneagram ones are in the harmonic group, which is the group that talks about how you deal with conflict and difficulty, you're in the competency group, meaning it's got to make the most sense. You're gonna have to prove that your idea is better than mine. But even though I'm just voicing, hey, this is my solution or this is my idea to, let's say it's your husband or anybody at work or anyone, tell me about the process that you've already taken, all these steps to even get to your idea, to know that it's the best. Is that communicated to others, or how do you get to your idea is the best?
Um, you know, Typically it is not communicated because I've already gone through all of those steps in my head in like, a minute. Um, and so when I finally say my idea out loud, I've already worked through all that. And so it's hard to step back and kind of go through step by step how I got there. Um, when, in my head, I'm already decided like this is the best way. Like there's no other way. Um, and so that's definitely kind of been a little bit of a eye opener as well. If I want people to understand why I feel like my idea is the best, then I need to explain to them how I got there. So it's definitely I have to slow down and kind of voice that, step 1 through 8 to help them understand too.
Mhm.
And sometimes saying those steps out loud actually does kind of open your eyes to, oh, maybe there is a way to take, step 4 and 5 out, and now we're there faster. Or
Even more efficient. Ooh.
exactly.
Yeah, that's great. And one of the mantras for an Enneagram one that I love, and it's always stuck with me, is don't, when it comes to an argument or a disagreement, it's like don't fight for to win the battle, right? Fight for consensus. So talk to me about the difference between, oh my gosh, no, I have to win this, whatever it is, versus, okay, let's come to an agreement, right? What does that internal mind shift look like for you? Like, wow, surrender.
I feel like I've always been like, if you're like, don't don't argue with me because I'm going to win. Um, and it's definitely been a little bit more of like a challenge to go from I have to win this so that you see why I am right to let me just explain my point, and then we can really just kind of move forward from there.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's definitely, I think, an everyday struggle for me. It's not so much as I need to be right all the time as it is, I need you to understand where I'm coming from.
Mhm. Mm. Wow. That seems like a big growth point for even you to realize, right? So
Yes,
some advice for
yes.
any Enneagram one listening to this, So let's talk about, the perfectionism, right? Where it's not just it's the reformer, right? I want to do everything the right way. There's a right way of doing things. I have a fear of being bad or evil or corrupt. It's got to be the right thing. And so ones are typically very moral and very honest people, but with that can come a little bit of perfectionism, right? Because so talk to me about what goes through your mind when you make a mistake.
Oh, it's like chaos. It is hard. It is very, very hard. And I have been this way, I mean, obviously my whole life. Um, but it is almost like a full-on like anxiety where you like, and prior to, I think, like really kind of realizing these, these characteristics and these traits and working through them, it would like consume me for a very long time. Um, and, now it's a little bit more where I can, take a deep breath, walk myself off the ledge a little bit, and then, kind of go from there. But making like that is like the biggest fear is like making a mistake or somebody not thinking that you know what you're doing. Like I feel like I have to know the answers at all times. And so any type of mistake really just kind of just throws you for a loop, and can set you back a little bit.
Yeah. What would be something that you would tell somebody who's in a relationship with an Enneagram one, whether it be personal or professional, if the one makes the mistake, how should the other person react?
I think that, just letting them know that it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Because in our minds, it is the end of the world. We have just like ended the world right there. And so, just kind of letting them know it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Um, and then allowing them some time to process that because it is a little bit of a, you do have to kind of go through it a little bit in your head and allow yourself to feel and understand that okay, like it's okay. Everybody's okay. Things are going to be fine. And then let's just start to move forward.
Hmm. And would the same go if somebody else makes a mistake? What if
No.
somebody else what if somebody else makes a mistake? Then what goes through your mind?
You're like, what are you doing? You should have listened to me the first time. I think that is very hard. When I was, oh my gosh, 22, 23, I was a very young nurse. I was put into a charge nurse leadership role. Um, and it was very much like this was my idea of how the shift should run. This is what you should be doing. You should be following my time schedule, my, timeline. You should have your meds passed at this time and XYZ. And if it wasn't, I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you not doing your job? Um, and nobody liked me. Go figure.
Oh, I can't imagine. Can't imagine why.
And, and obviously at the time I was so young, I didn't really, it was just, this is just, you should do it my way because that's the best way. And now looking back, it's like, well, it, they had their own way of doing things and it got done. And that at the end of the day is what was important. Um, and so, but if a mistake was made, immediately it was, well, if you would have done it my way, there would have been no mistake.
Right, right. So it's more, well, I always, two things here. I always advise ones that saying, I told you so is really not advice. It's really not helpful advice. So saying, I told you so really doesn't move the situation forward at all. But it sounds like when somebody else makes a mistake, especially if you have told them, otherwise before the mistake, that it's less about the other person doing something wrong and really more of a personal offense
Yeah.
to yourself. So I
Yes.
think that would be helpful for other people to understand. It's like, hey, it's more about the one versus, you.
Yes.
Um, so it sounds like you have this whole plan in your head. And if people abide by that, then everything will be okay, right? No hell will break loose. So talk to me about why planning is so important to ones typically.
I feel like, especially for me, having a plan just eliminates the chaos. It feels like there are a lot of things going on in my head, things that have to get done. It's so much at one time. And so being able to have a plan really does allow me to check the boxes. I say that a lot. Like, I feel like that is literally what I'm doing in my head is like checking a box and moving on to the next one. Um, like on my phone, my to-do list is literally to check the box. Like, and it
And
may
how
be
much
something
joy do you get out of actually checking it off?
a lot.
Do you ever not add something on your checklist, do it, and then add it to your checklist just so you can check it off?
Yes.
I had a
Yes.
feeling.
I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, I did that.
Yeah. It's like, wait, I gotta record this, right? I did this, you know?
Exactly.
And then what is it if something doesn't go to the plan? Talk to me about the chaos that is in your mind.
Before I mean, it was a lot. Where especially like if I said, "Hey, we need to be here at this time," and my husband is a 7, so we are not getting there at that time. And so it would be, 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes late, and I would just be a complete mess. I'm yelling at everybody. And then we get there and nobody even notices that we're late. Um, but it is definitely, this was my plan. This was the time I wanted to be there. This in my head is how I had it all planned out for it to work. And now it's not working that way. And I have to shift my plan. Like, I, I can't do that on the spare of a moment. Like, who do you think I am?
Yeah, yeah. So going with the flow is not a strong suit. So
It
if
is
someone says, "Hey, go with the flow," or "Let's just change up this plan," why is that so hard?
because we have already mapped out every possibility and now you're changing it and we haven't had time to map that out yet. So you
And
give us some
recalibrate.
time. Yes, give us some time to map that out and then we'll be okay.
So it's interesting because it sounds like the mapping out and the checklist sounds like it's all your responsibility in your head, at least. So talk
Yes.
to me about what your relationship with responsibility has been, and then through the Enneagram and personal development, what is your relationship with responsibility now?
Ooh, that's a heavy
We might have to
one.
make this a two-part podcast.
Exactly, exactly. Uh, you know, I have always felt that everything is my responsibility. And I don't know if that's because I feel like I can do it the right way, so just let me take it on and do it, and it'll be okay. Um, but it has always been every single thing is my responsibility. And letting somebody else take over or help or try to help is just not in the wheelhouse because what if you don't do it the way I want you to, or what if you don't do it the right way? Then now I have extra work to do. So just let me do it and we'll be fine. I have now learned that not everything is my responsibility and that it is okay to allow other people to help, to take on, certain things. And if they don't do it my way, it still gets done. And, I may learn a new way to do something. Uh, this week alone, I had my assistant doing some charting stuff, and she was not doing it the way that I do it. Um, and inside, I'm like telling myself, "Don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything. It's gonna get done." And then I watched her, and I was like, "Whoa." Her way is way faster than the way I've been doing it, and it still gets done right. So I think that that was kind of a little lesson for me to obviously be
Right.
open to new ways.
Yeah. No, that sounds great because it's like, hey, I'm getting what I want and even something better, you know? That's a great thing for, and I hope ones listen to this too, not just people who are trying to get along with ones, where it's just like, hey, lighten up a little bit. And that's something that you had said, like, how to get along with me is encourage me to lighten up and laugh at myself, especially when you get uptight. So why is that so important? Like, please encourage me to laugh at myself and lighten up. Hear my worries first, but encourage me to lighten up. Why is that so
I
important?
think because it's so easy to just get caught up and go down like a spiral where it's just, these are my concerns, or this is the mistake I made, and now, in my head, it's just going crazy. So especially with my husband, it's, hear what I am worried about or concerned about, but then let me encourage me to laugh it off, encourage me to to just be a kid, to not worry about it so much, because it is so easy for us to pull in all that responsibility and to pull in all that worry and have the weight of the world on our shoulders and not allow ourselves to just enjoy the free moment.
Mm,
Um, and so I think having somebody to just, kind of giggle with you and say, it's not that bad, like you're going to be okay. Or, and to be, as a one, to be open to somebody kind of maybe poking fun at you a little bit and to not take it so personally, because that is very easy for us to do. Um,
right. Ones are typically, you strive to, and this is textbook, right? You are the practitioner of this, and I'm the theorist. I'm not a one. I'm a stressed one though, because I am a seven. So I understand parts of this, but um, the reason why you want to do everything right and perfectly is not because of exterior criticism. It's because your internal criticism is worse than what anybody could say to you.
yes.
Talk to me about what that inner critic looks like.
I mean, it's pretty severe. To be the person who is constantly, you know, just criticizing every move you make, every decision you make, every, mistake, every success, and still thinking, well, it could be better. You can make it better. Um, which can be, helpful in times, but sometimes it can be a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so it definitely is, it's 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 consuming sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what you had said too, is what's hard about being an Enneagram one is being disappointed with myself or others when expectations are not met. So, and kind of like we talked about before, these expectations are internalized.
Yes.
And even externalizing the expectation is helpful, as you stated, like, hey, talk about these things, you know? Um, I love, this is something that's always stuck with me with Enneagram ones is they internalize, right? You're an internalizing type where, oh my God, all this responsibility is on myself. And then when you integrate into a four, that stress, you're a stress four. That's also an internalized type where it's like, oh, okay, something wasn't perfect or I made a mistake. Everything was my responsibility. I want to deal with this on my own and internalize it. And then I always say an unhealthy four is you do spiral, right? You spiral down into this little rabbit hole by yourself and you don't invite anybody in, even though you desperately wish somebody would just come and say, hey, it's okay.
Hmm.
And on the other end of that, you are a growth seven, which is the enthusiast and the classic fun one. And I love that you're married to one. Um, and it's really like at the end of the day, if everybody just does what they're supposed to, then we can have fun. Then everybody
Exactly.
can have fun. So talk to me about, what, your self-discipline, right? You like this about being a one, but at the end of the day, we can just have fun. So talk to me about that. What does that mean to you?
Before it was I mean, that's what it was. It was like, okay, if everybody cleans their room, if the house is clean, if, we've done all the homework and, we've done all the things we need to do, then we can have fun. But now it's bedtime. So now you got to go to bed because it's like a strict, like, this is the bedtime and you have to be in bed that time. Um, and obviously, like, nobody in our house was really having a lot of fun. So, through personal development and growing, it has definitely been a little bit of an eye opener of, okay, this can wait. Like, let's go do something while it's still light outside, while we can have a good time, and then we'll come back and we'll get some things done. We'll get to check off our to-do list. Uh,
So you're saying at 201, add have fun on the checklist.
yes, at the top. Put it at the top so you make sure you do it.
Yeah, right. Not let's wait to be happy and have fun. Let's do it. Let's make sure we prioritize that. So it sounds like there's a lot of things that are super spot on about Enneagram ones. Is there any stereotype about Enneagram ones that you find wildly off or offensive or hurtful?
I think that being closed-minded, or sensitive to criticism, is definitely a little bit offensive. But then again, is, saying that I'm sensitive to criticism, is that my normal, like, one being sensitive to criticism?
Right.
Um,
It's a double-edged sword.
I think that, obviously with anybody, you are capable of growth. And, you know, yes, I think that in a normal, natural state, ones are probably a little closed-minded.
Mhm.
Um, and we probably are a little sensitive to criticism, but like you had said earlier, it's not because you're saying it, it's because we've already criticized ourselves a million times worse.
Mhm.
And so, but we are open-minded. I think that, we really do want to hear or learn other ideas or other ways, and to kind of hear that out. You just have to present it to us in a way that we feel is correct.
Yes, right. It's all about the presentation.
Yes, yes,
Planning the time and really not catching you off guard or
right.
um, understanding going with the flow is not probably the best option.
Mm-mm. No. What is it? Come at me correct? Like, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be correct. I'm open-minded to your ideas if you come at me the exact way I
I,
want you to come at me, which
exactly.
is with a plan. Tell me why your idea is better than my original idea, and it's got to make sense to me,
Yes.
right? And then
Yes.
remind me to lighten up and have fun.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, I love that. A nice four-step plan. Follow the
See?
four steps. Check, 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 check. Okay, got
Exactly.
it. This is perfect. So, if there was one last thing that you would want people to know about Enneagram ones, and I know you want to stick to the plan and go back to the answer that you wrote down on the form, but we're just going to go with the flow here and see. You can say whatever you want to say here. But is there like what would be one last thought that you would want somebody to know about an Enneagram one?
I think that if you just give them time, because, if you are springing new ideas on them, or, you're ready to change something up, um, give them some time to process it. It's not easy for us to just like flip switches because, like I said, we've already planned this out. Like, every which way that it could go, and now you're changing it up on us, so we need some time to just kind of work through that, get comfortable with it, and then we're ready to rock and roll. But I think that's really, that's the big one. Like, just give us a little time to process, and then we'll be ready to do something with you.
Okay, that's solid gold right there. It's not going to happen on a, on a whim here, just caught off guard. It's like I have to process this. I have to assign a checklist to it, and then organize a checklist, and then make sure that this idea makes sense, and then I will be open-minded to your idea.
Exactly.
I love
Exactly.
that. Easy to follow. Any last things that you would want to say to an Enneagram One? Any advice?
Um, I would say, to really just lighten up. Um, it checklists are great, and our plans are always great, and but I think the biggest thing is definitely being open-minded and allowing yourself to hear what other people have to say too. And to doesn't mean you have to love it. You don't have to love every single part of it. But I think that you will be very pleasantly surprised at some of the things that you'll learn as you open up to other ideas.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. So thank you so much for your insight. I hope this helps everybody get along with Enneagram ones, and I hope it actually is really introspective for ones to be open-minded. So for a one to be open-minded, of course, it would have to come from an Enneagram one. So thank you for being the source. This has been wonderful, and we will talk to you soon.
Yes, thanks for having me.
That wraps up how to get along with an Enneagram 1. I hope it was helpful and gave you insight into the mind of someone you love. To listen to the entire episode along with more episodes on Enneagram 1, check out my podcast streaming on all major platforms, linked in the bio. Be sure to send it to all of your favorite Enneagram 1s or someone who you know has a close relationship with a 1. And if you loved today's episode, please follow, subscribe, leave a review. That helps the show grow so much and allows me to continue to get awesome guests and episodes out for you. And of course, I'm going to leave you with just one thing. It's this: expect good things always, and they will happen.